Alright guys, it's Jeremy here from Massey Motors with Hyundai. I'm joined today by Craig Costello. We've had a fantastic response with the Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid, but also a number of questions which we're going to attempt to answer for you today on a test drive that Craig is taking me on. Alright Craig, let's jump in.
Alright, let's do it.
So let's take a drive off. You put it in D. It's going to be quite silent as we move off because it's using, as I say, the electric motor, and you're going to hear the hybrid system kick in and the motor come on as the vehicle speeds up. So you've been getting a ton of questions, Craig, if I'm not mistaken, online about how the hybrid operates, and people with concerns. It's been a tremendous success for us, but there's still people who are on the fence. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions coming in from social media, a lot of interest for the hybrid. We have Richard from Digger Martin. He wants to know what's the warranty on the battery?
Richard, that's a great question, because the battery is the single most important component. It's like the heart of the vehicle. But Hyundai is so confident in the lithium-ion polymer construction of this battery that they're offering you, the consumer, a 10-year unlimited mileage warranty on the battery.
Okay. Sally from Coover was asking, with the recent flooding in the country, can the hybrid get wet? Can it drive through flood waters? Very,
very topical question, Sally, especially with all the reports in the media and all the unfortunate incidents that we've experienced in various parts of the country with flooding, with the recent torrential downpours. Now, I'll tell you, first of all, to answer that question, Craig, the way the hybrid system is constructed, the way the battery is constructed, it's not just one solid battery that either requires change or doesn't. This hybrid battery actually has 4 modules, each with an individual, I believe, 16 cells in each battery. And what will happen is that there's a defect in any particular battery, it's usually, or any particular cell, it's usually reflected in the cell of that module,
right? Not
in the entire battery. And I'll tell you that also that there are about 3 redundancy systems that operate redundantly to control how that voltage is exposed to us, right? So first of all, you have the power control unit, and that basically the power control unit is constantly monitoring the electrical charge of each one of those cells that I mentioned, and it's making a determination about whether or not to shut the vehicle down based on the state of charge. So if you have a short to ground condition existing, the vehicle is going to pick up on that quickly via the power control and make that decision about shutting it down or putting it in fail-safe mode, right? Actually, right there, we just heard the blind spot indicators, which are also equipped on the premium model of this vehicle, and it will indicate to you if it detects a car in your blind spot. So if you're changing lanes, it's going to notify you visually. It's on the rearview mirror itself, as well as audibly, as we just heard, right?
Yeah, that's a great feature.
Right. So back to that battery. The second system now is you have a main fuse, which will of course trip in the event that you have a short to ground condition, and each individual cell is also fused. So you have 3 systems that operate in conjunction to protect you, the user, and ultimately the most amount of voltage you would be exposed to in a flood situation. We're talking 3.75 volts, which, if you remember from your boyhood days, you used to put 9-volt batteries to your tongue. So you'll remember it's a very minor experience that's
nothing.
That you're gonna have
all the time.
Correct. And by the way, it's only if your rear seat is basically covered with water that you're gonna activate those fail-safe systems. And I'll tell you, any car, combustion engine, electrified drivetrain, you should not be driving through water that has your rear seat covered with water, because you're gonna run into problems either way.
Yeah. All right. So Candace from Chaguanas was asking, what is the gas mileage on a full tank?
That's again a very good question. We've been running this vehicle for over a year now, so our experience and the feedback that's been coming to us from consumers, and in fact it's borne out on the dashboard. We have a 3/4 tank running 669 or nearly 670 kilometers worth of mileage that's left. But our experience has been between anywhere from 800 to 1,000 kilometers off one tank of gas. Now, bear in mind, it's about $150 to fill up, right? Super gasoline. Bear in mind that this a standard 1.6 liter combustion engine vehicle might give you about 500, 550 kilometers if you baby it and you move along. But as you've seen, and it gives you a breakdown of what your driving is like, we have 63% economical, 29% normal, 8% aggressive. And again, to reiterate, economical driving for this car is actually in traffic when you're not running the combustion engine to move the vehicle along. So you're not dumping a lot of fuel into the atmosphere.
Okay. Mark from Port of Spain, are there tax benefits on a hybrid?
Right now, Mark, I mean, we monitoring what the government of the Republic is offering as tax benefits, and right now we have no duty, no motor vehicle tax, no VAT on this particular hybrid because it's under 1600 cc's for the combustion part. That's a savings quite significant. This car would normally be priced at around 260,000. Right now we're able to sell the car for 189,000 because of those tax exemptions.
All right. Robin from Penal wants to know what's the cost of maintaining a hybrid. Yeah, what's the cost of maintenance?
The cost of maintenance on the hybrid is going to be no different from a 1.6 liter combustion engine sedan. In fact, maybe even a little less. Also, because of the regenerative braking, which is in use when you're slowing down, you're going to utilize less dispatch, so you're going to get savings from there. But the bigger cost, and you know, I mean, it's great to help our pockets. It's great that consumers are spending less. That's excellent. The bigger cost is when you consider, let's just say 1,000 vehicles. 1,000 vehicles is putting up about 2,100 tons of carbon dioxide.
Ooh,
in combustion engine vehicles. Whereas if you had a hybrid, you've cut that down to 1,300 tons. Just the same 1,000 vehicles doing no different other than filling the fuel and putting it in drive and driving the vehicle.
Wow.
So that's a huge soft aspect of this thing. I mean, Trinidad is one of the most inefficient countries in the region, if not the hemisphere, when it comes to our usage of energy. So being responsible and getting involved in this hybrid technology and electrified drivetrains is absolutely a priority for many of our citizens.
Of course. All right, so Vishnu from Maruga wants to know, are Massey technicians trained to service the hybrid, and does Massey carry the hybrid parts in stock?
Massey technicians are fully trained. In fact, we've been doing a level of training even before we introduced this vehicle in preparation for it. One of the obligations we have as a distributor is to have an adequate stock of parts, and of course the hybrid electrified drivetrain is very important to us. So the answer there, Craig, is yes, we do keep a full stock of the parts that are required.
Okay, excellent. And Jonathan from Pitty Valley, he wants to know, what if the battery runs out while I'm driving?
All right, so that really is going to be an extremely rare occurrence. As I say, the vehicle, the ECU, the electronic control unit, is monitoring the state of charge on the battery at all times. It's a live event. So you're going to see, as we were driving, the state of charge on the right hand side. As we're coming down, the state of charge is going back up. It was below a third, now it's above a third. And probably by the time we get back to the dealership, it's going to be about half. Now, bearing in mind that this is happening automatically behind the scenes, so you're never going to see the battery either going to be fully charged or fully discharged. The system is using the battery and the electric motor as it needs to.
Okay. I hope that answers all your questions. Keep them coming.